Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chan's newly formed $48 billion venture, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, is making its first bet with an investment in New York-based startup Andela, a for-profit company that trains software developers in Africa.
There is no way that this place doesn't end up shaping the way that things get built around the world.
The biggest challenge today is simply there is no innovation ecosystem that supports talent to build the solutions that the market needs.
Is Africa hiding the next Mark Zuckerberg? This is the title of an article in the Wall Street Journal newspaper that got the attention of the CEO and founder of Facebook to invest $24 million in Andela for training software developers in Africa. Without any splash of exaggeration, Africa is building the next base for the next tech mogul to rule the world. Ms. Iyin Aboyeji, the co-founder of two successful leading companies in Africa, Flutterwave and Andela, and now building the Africa Silicon Valley, also known as the talent city in the second largest city in Africa, Lagos, Nigeria. And this is the story of Africa's Silicon Valley. What is Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley is the bedrock of information and knowledge, an inception of most of the technological products we use today in our day-to-day lives. Silicon Valley is a region in Northern California, located in southern part of San Francisco, Bay Area, USA. It serves as a global center for high technology and innovation. Thousands of high technological companies have their headquarters in Silicon Valley. Apple, Google, Meta, Netflix, PayPal, eBay, GoPro, Visa, and many others. All of these companies found success in Silicon Valley.
This Santa Clara Valley, which we all refer to affectionately as Silicon Valley, is probably one of the finest examples of what I call sort of an entrepreneurial risk culture anywhere in the world.
In Africa, there is no such environment, but that is about to change with the help of Iyin Aboyeji. Who is Iyin Aboyeji? Iyin Aboyeji is a Nigerian entrepreneur in the public interest, popularly known as E. He has co-founded two Africa's most successful companies, Andela and Flutterwave. He is a native of Yaba, Lagos State, Nigeria. He had his primary and secondary education in Lagos. As a boy, he wanted to be a taxi driver because of his fascination with his father's job at the time. He then switched his interest to becoming a policeman, then an engineer, before he finally settled to study competition law in the University of Waterloo, Canada. He never had this interest in tech until he met an old friend, Pierre Aris, who lived and worked in Silicon Valley. He introduced him to tech, and after some while, they both co-founded a company called Bookneto, which later failed because of some regulation policies. He also founded and co-founded other companies in Canada, which also failed. This was when it occurred to him that there are more opportunities for him in Nigeria compared to Canada. Iyin Aboyeji left Canada for Nigeria in 2004 to start up Fora to help Nigerian students, but the startup did not come to fruition because of some national policies. But all of these failures didn't dent the optimistic view of Iyin as a tech entrepreneur. Eventually, Iyin Aboyeji met Jeremy Johnson on a trip to the United States, in which he introduced Iyin to a business idea that could work in Nigeria, and the idea is Andela. Andela is a network company for global placement for software developers, which focuses on training people in different tech niche and then placing them for global realization. The idea of Andela was so bright that it got many people interested and invested. Andela has raised $24 million from Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan's fund. After some years, Iyin Aboyeji quitted Andela and joined some other folks to start up a new company called Flutterwave, a digital payment infrastructure platform, and without any shadow of doubt, Flutterwave proved successful more than anyone could imagine. Surprisingly, he also quitted Flutterwave, and with the spirit of his first successful company, Andela, which focuses on helping African techies, he went on a large scale to start Talent City. What is Talent City? Talent City is the Silicon Valley of Africa. Talent City is an idea to create such an ecosystem that Africa-based talents can be built together, a city for the builders of tomorrow, an environment that will give room to new innovative startups and allow them to strive. Talent City Network will allow ideas to be created and growth to be found, as many investors who want to invest in Africa IT sector will know where to go. So it is safe to say, in some years to this time, the next Mark Zuckerberg will come from Africa, as many people are already becoming residents in this city. The first location of Africa's Silicon Valley is in Lekki Free Zone, Lagos, Nigeria, and it is planned that many talent cities of this standard will still be built across Africa. If you wonder why Lagos was chosen to be the first city of Talent City Network, check the statistics. At present, Lagos City is ranked #1 leading city for startup in Africa, followed by Cape Town in South Africa. One common thing between the Silicon Valley in the United States and Nigeria's Talent City is that their inception look quite similar. Talking about the right that this land has, Iyin said,
"So as you're standing here now, you're no longer in Nigeria.
Because the system in the city is different to the one operating in the country. Talent City will have its own immigration system, police and security system, banking system, and for lack of better words, Talent City would be a country under Nigeria. Talent City Lekki Free Zone is situated on almost 18 acres of land, and it is said to accommodate about 1,000 physical residents, 2,500 remote workers, and thousands of virtual residents. Talent City is going to use gas power plants backed up with solar energy to generate electricity. There will be no physical policing, and the security of the city will all be camera based, and everything in the city will be operated with tech. Talent City is scheduled to complete in 2030. Its establishment will play a vital role for producing the next Mark Zuckerberg from Africa. Iyin Aboyeji has always been driven by one motive, and that is,
I think for me, it's about black man pride. If we can make Nigeria work, all this disrespect will stop. So that until Africa becomes a continent for black people, I mean, that's a befitting legacy for our children.